Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Bubba. Just going through the email this morning, kind of looking for things to talk about and to explore and find out where we are in this world today. It is one messed up little conundrum. So let's see what's in my email from the old Salty Cracker. Salty Cracker, I watch him quite a bit. The guy's he's got some foul language, but the dude's right on point. But he uses a lot of satire in his videos, Otherwise, he'd probably be demonetized over there. But here we go. Over from my friends over on Rumble.com, which is actually censor-free. They do have limitations on, language and stuff like that. But as far as being able to speak your piece, you can't do it over at Rumble. I have a channel over there also. But let's see what we got here from the Salty Cracker. Maui residents greet Biden with middle finger and F.U. chants. I watched that yesterday. It was pretty interesting. Now I'm just going through these. I had made some changes with my computer. I tried to put in a new program for my film editing, and it went hauled, and so I had some issues. I'm trying to keep an old dinosaur going here. Limited funds, so I'm trying to get it set up where I can, take donations and stuff for people and help me buy equipment to give you a better viewing experience. And now I got my cat walking around up there. I've had like $100 worth of cords chewed up by them cats. I'm been trying to figure out a way to keep them from keeping them teeth off there. I've wrapped them in shields and all kinds of junk, and they always find an open spot. That little one back there, she's the worst. Her name's Chloe. She's my favorite cat, though. But anyways, get back to the issue here. IRS agent audits the hell out of colleague with a gun. It's pretty interesting what's happening over there. Let's see what these guys got going on here. Live and N3 prime time, the headlines you can't afford to miss. That's from my friends over there at the Next News Network. Another freer place to find your news. The Post Millennial, what's going on there? More. Oh, there's a Senator Ryan on the Maui fires. 114. That's a shame what's going on over there, ladies and gentlemen. They tried to do a media blackout on that. They don't really want us over here in the mainland know what's going on over there. This thing sinks to high heaven. I mean, there is not. This is not normal, man. These people are less than, considered less than, put it this way. Ukraine is above our own citizens, and much more. We don't need that one. That's TV stuff. Pinterest. I get a lot of good stuff I learn over here at the Gateway Pundit. St. Louis mayor announces plans to outlaw AR-15s and AK-47s and military-styled weapons. Hopes criminals will comply. If they complied, they wouldn't be criminals, right? In the ministry, and they try to fool the less informed public in America, the people that don't really know anything about much except for the little ordinary things they do in their lives. And I'm not saying this being, putting anybody down, okay? I mean, that's what a lot of Americans just want to do. They just want to live their lives. They want to be left alone. They want to be, enjoy the freedoms that our forefathers and our veterans have provided for us for how many years, right? And it's all fleeting away, ladies and gentlemen. You have to pay attention. You have to pay attention. The AR-15s, all they are is a .22 rifle. That's all they are. It's not a weapon of war. Oh, assault rifle. Assault rifle. AR. Assault rifle. Wait a minute. The initials for AR are Arm or Light. That's the name of the style, the guy that made that style of weapon, AR-15. It's not. An M16 is a military weapon that we use. We can buy them. You can't get them fully automatic. Well, there are some states now that it is legal to own machine guns, right? Because in the Constitution it said right to bear arms, and that didn't mean just muskets. I mean, that was at their time, right? They said you could have the weapons of that time. You could even have a cannon, you could have dynamite. You could have all that stuff, right? And we never had no problems until all these wackos started coming around, and there's a lot to this, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe eventually if I don't get kicked off of YouTube too quick, maybe I might bring some of that to you. What my hopes are over here, ladies and gentlemen, it's like so many other young people that I follow. I follow a lot of black commentators on YouTube, and they're very good, right? And I see blacks coming out, and not just blacks, Hispanics, and other minorities are coming out of the Democratic Party because they are seeing through the evil. They're seeing through the evil, and especially what's going on with Trump right now. An ex-Secret Service guy, Dan Bongino, who's worked for four presidents, right, in the White House. He's got his own show, the Dan Bongino Show. A patriot-loving American. And don't get me wrong, there are so many Democrats that are patriots, but they remain in their party and keep voting for the same thing, expecting different results, expecting fairness, but they're never going to get it. That is not the Democratic Party that our mothers and fathers know, okay? And the history of bad doings in the Democratic Party go all the way back before the Civil War. You follow me? They started the KKK. They started the Jim Crow laws, right? They tried to blame it on the Republicans, and Democrats just eat it up, and people just eat it up because, it must be so. They told me that. Let's get on here. Yeah, Joe Biden spits on Constitution again. That doesn't surprise me. He does it every day. And announces new student loan bailout scheme will cost taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars. And that's just a ploy, ladies and gentlemen, to get the youth vote, And the whole thing is, if you go to college, and you sign your name on that line, well, you gotta start thinking about this stuff, and look at it. You're not being educated in these colleges anymore. You're being indoctrinated. And, I don't understand why people can't see through the full, oh, God, see, I used to know all these big words, but I'm starting to, I guess I got too much stuff I've studied over the years where I can't reach out and I grab that stuff, anyways, another Loch Ness monster. That's interesting. Arizona State Senate President Warren Peterson and Secretary of State must correct election procedures manual draft and face legal action. That was another scam that went down. And what is Trump going to being charged with now? He was an election denier. He knew that he lost, but he lied to the American people. There's no way you can prove what he thought, right? You cannot look inside. They're building these things where they can look into your brain, and they want this new world order bullshit, the World Economic Forum, the Great World Reset. I watched the guys in their seminars and their conventions that they got this things that they can put in your brain to help you, with depression and stuff. They'll know when you're depressed, and they can help you and they can monitor you, And then next year we're rolling over to digital currency where, wait a minute, you spoke out about us. I'm going to shut off your bank account. We're going to take your money, yeah. There's so much going on, ladies and gentlemen. You got to pull your head out of the sand and see what's going on. You got to join in the fight. And I don't mean war or, violence and stuff. We got to take back our country. These people work for us. That's what made America different. We are not a Democrat country. We are a constitutional republic. Look it up. Find out what it means. And you'll see that it is superior to democracy. Democracy is just a little part of it. They didn't, when our forefathers from this country, they decided they were going to make it bigger. Right? Bigger. See, they had parliament and stuff like that over in England and stuff, but still you had the king, the royal family that overseed that. Right? We don't have any royalty here. But now we have these people in office that think they are royalty because they've been in office for 30, 40, 50 years. It's gone to their head. Power, absolute power has, it has absolute power to corrupt one's mind and spirit. People lust for power. Right? All the things happening in the world today are about money and power. Climate change. Right? Racism. Divide people. Divide and conquer. One country. One country. I don't care what party you're in. Democratic, Republic, Independent, I don't care, Libertarian, whatever. You're all my American brothers and sisters. And I don't look at you, and most of us Americans don't really look at what they decide somebody on the color of their skin. It's never going to end. There's always going to be people that are going to feel that way. Well, look at whites. We had the English, the Scots, the Irish, there was the three levels of, your place in society, or you're just a no good, dirty Irishman. As a matter of fact, Irish people were sold into servitude in this country way before the first black slaves even came to this country. And they were treated worse than the blacks were because they were cheaper to get, because they were sold into servitude, because back in the day, if your parents died and owed money, you had to pay it back, and you went into servitude. And then in Africa, that show Woman King, a lot of people are freaking out about that. Well, if you look at the real history of that, even an amazing black American, okay, I'd like to say American, but I got to identify that, which is really sickening if you think about it. I should just be able to say his name and you go, oh yeah, I heard of him. But wait a minute now, you got to address him, you got to introduce him as a black American even, okay? Is that racist? I don't know. Some people, my wife pointed out to me, says, well, when you say something, what does black do, Dad? I go, I never thought about it like that, babe, but I'll work on it, and she's right. But I've seen a lot of the black Americans that I follow on YouTube, they say the same thing. I'm American. Morgan Freeman said the same thing. It's time to get past this, great kindergarten mentality, we were progressing pretty good there as far as racial equality coming together, right? I watched it in North Minneapolis, when I was a kid. There wasn't a lot of black folks that lived in Minneapolis way back when I was a kid. I'm 67 years old now, right? I lived in the projects over on the northern side of Minneapolis, and it was mostly all white folks. That was built for, your Korean veterans that came home from the war, and then as people move and migrate, animals, humans are no different than animals, man. The wolf pack, when there's so many wolves that are born and bred into the pack, when they get to be too many, well, then they're drove off by the beta male and beta female, because there's only one the beta male and the beta female are the only two that are allowed to breed. Okay? So they get pushed out. That's the same thing. You know, there's only one thing that put us above the animals in this kingdom, and that was God. God put us in charge over the kingdom. So we're on the top of the food chain, but yet we have the same traits built within of us to reproduce, to feed ourselves, to provide for our tribe. And we're all tribal people. Every last civilization throughout the world, we're all tribal people. Some were called clans, right? And you look at the Native Americans here. You have different clans within, you know, like my wife is Anishinaabe, right? White terminology would be Chippewa, right? She's Anishinaabe, the first people, right? Her grandfather was a pipe carrier, you know, medicine man, you know, so to speak. Wise man. Loved the guy. Man, I could sit and talk to him, and I listened to all stories about how he tramped around the country back in the Depression years, hoboing, you know, riding the rails across the country, you know. You were looking for a job because, you know, way back then, you lived on the reservation. It was nothing. And it hasn't really gotten much better. Some of these tribes are doing better now because they have casinos and stuff, but it's if you don't know nothing about it, you should look into this stuff. You know, they were, you know, we were supposed to learn from them. That was God's mission in us coming here. We escaped out of England and out of Europe and stuff to come here for religious freedom, right? For freedom away from kings and queens and stuff, that tyrants that ruled over us and decided everything about your life. You were just a peasant, right? You came here and you could be a sovereign person in yourself, you know, and that's why we went with constitutional republic, because under a constitutional republic, you can't take the rights of the few away. You can't. But they're doing it every day now. And they sell out Republicans, you know, the rhinos. They ain't no better. They're even worse than the Democrats because they come in, you know, and oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it's just like the Democrats. They got to create they got to create a narrative to divide and conquer. If you look at their play rules, they divide blacks, you know, like Hillary Clinton, for instance, and Kamala, you know, and all of them. When they're speaking in front of a white bunch of people, they talk this way. When they go and talk in front of black constituents, no ways, you know, they take on this black southern accent, make it sound like, hey, I'm down with you, you know. You got to see past what they're really saying, you know. Watch your body, watch your eyes, you know. People, you know, and none of them people like Nancy Pelosi. She does this, and like she's, you know, going like this, like she's trying to cast a spell on you. You listen to me, you peasant. You're beneath me. You follow me? They work for us. 2 or 3 terms, out. Right? You can only run for president twice. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi. She's been in there for 40 years. Dianne Feinstein, she's been in there for, you know, they got to cart her out in a wheelchair now, you know. She can barely talk. She had to have her staffers tell her what to do on voting on an amendment, right? And Mitch McConnell, the dude just freezes up. Joe Biden now, you know, I'm saying, yeah, he's really lost it here for a while, but you know, it makes me think of this gangster movie I watched, you know, years ago. It was based on a true story. They were being indicted for, you know, racketeering, the RICO Act, and all this blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, these guys that were fine are showing up with, you know, IV bags and in wheelchairs and, oxygen masks and stuff, because they're too weak to be charged. They'll never survive prison. Sometimes I think Biden is playing that. Yeah. He had a pretty good scam going on for 47 years. He really did nothing. I watched him when they had a hearing with Thomas Sowell, and no, it was Clarence Thomas. That's right. Well, he did one with Thomas Sowell too, but Clarence Thompson's looking at him. He's going, "What the hell are you talking about?" Oh, now if I remember right, the Thomas Sowell went in front of these guys when they were talking about, blacks getting in, being able to get into Yale and Harvard and all this and that. And Thomas Sowell, now what really intrigued me about Thomas Sowell, he started out his career as a Marxist. He was in favor of communism. Now, if you know anything about Marxism, it's a play on emotions, right? The working class take back their country, and you're given the power back, but it never works that way. It never works that way because it starts out with socialism, then it grows. It's like a seed you plant in the ground. It grows, it looks pretty. All of a sudden, when it comes to time to pollinate, right, it creates all these other things. Well, we got to stay in control. We can't let anybody be in control anymore. We have to handpick our own leaders, right? And that's what's happening in Washington. Thomas Jefferson told us years ago that if we ever limited ourselves to two parties, we were doomed for failure because one would absorb the other. You have Democrats, you have Republicans, but in the Republican Party you got rhinos that they're in bed with the Democrats for money. What did Mitch McConnell say? Well, it doesn't matter if we don't win back the Senate. I'm fine with being the speaker of, the leader of my party. Him and Chuck Schumer are buddies. Now, if both sides followed the Constitution, right, and had moral decency, ladies and gentlemen. See, when they go up in front of the cameras, it's all an act. It's all an act. A lot of these people are trained by body language experts to help them to be able to communicate better, to get my message across. It's not just in politics. They use that in business too. How to communicate with others, how to steer the things. Even Trump knows about this, right? Well, anyways, that's that truck driver in me. Blah, 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 blah. There's Vic Ramsey. I don't know about this guy. Right there. I just don't know about him. There's something that just I don't know how to explain it. And see, that's the curiosity that, when you get a thought, don't just blow it off. Maybe it came up for a reason, because we do have forces that speak to us. And if you really listen to them, you'd be amazed where them voices could lead you. They could lead you to either good, the ultimate good. They could lead you to the Lord, or they could lead you to the devil. See, we like to think of ourselves like we're bigger than what we really are. We're smarter. We're more powerful than what we really are. We're just sheep wandering around. You got sheep and goats, Scott Adams. I watch. This here is the guy that had as well as a Dilbert in the old funny books back in the paper years ago. I watch his show now and then. Oh, let's see here. Bill Clinton is sweating bullets after Sound of Freedom's director made this announcement. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if any of you really follow what's going on with that movie, Sound of Freedom. True story about sexual trafficking. Now, see, we're going through all these reparation things around the country. All these leaders are talking reparations, reparations, reparations. How do you buy votes, man? Well, I'm going to get you millions of dollars in reparations. Oh, hey, I could use some money. People always want money. They put money over everything in their life. They don't know there's something more powerful and more meaningful than money. Like right now, for years I used to have a pocket full of $100 bills, man. I always had a pocket of $100 bills. I'd go to the casino and I'd just blow, because I trucked for, 25, 26 years, long haul over a few years local. But I loved them casinos, man. That gambling bug bit me in the ass. It's the thing with addictions, I'm a recovering addict. I've been clean, 33 years, and but you usually struggle with addiction. You defeat one, another one takes its place. And I started out gambling. I've always been lucky at shit, so to speak. Things would just come my way, and I just squandered away. The Lord blessed me with this. I don't even know if luck is the word that you could use, but He has saved my butt so many times, man. I should have been dead 100 times over, but I'm still around. But I struggle with that gambling, and I finally gave it up after I came home out of the truck. Homes selling swiftly because market's on so bad. Look what they're trying to do in Maui, the land grab, BlackRock, and it's sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, I'd say about 90% of the Americans don't even know who and what BlackRock really is. When you see corporations going woke like Target and Bud Light and Budweiser and all them, man, it's usually because of the influence coming from BlackRock, the world's largest hedge fund. Fudge. Yeah, they fudge up everything. Well, they tell you got to be diversified, this equity, like look at Best Buy now. Best Buy, that VP or whatever her name was, I didn't get the whole story, just watched a brief detail on it, where we got to hire whites, non-whites. We don't want to hire white people. Wait a minute. How do you improve things? That's like back in Ireland, in that when they had those IRA wars going on over there, Protestant against Catholics, you get rid of one and they end up doing the same thing, right? Now, there's been racism in this country, and you'll never, ever really get rid of racism. You never will. But I watched it almost die out in my lifetime. I almost watched it. See, you young folks aren't old enough to know. Because I'm not saying this as an insult to that your generation. It's because you guys don't check nothing out. You don't verify anything. When you go to verify something, you go right back to the people that lied to you in the first place. And there's all the people that are caught under that same thing. They keep going back. Well, let's say CNN. CNN used to be an excellent news network. But it changed. And all that political money, corporations buying things out. Well, we got to control things because we want to control who buys from us. We want to program everybody to buy from us, because this thing that you're watching right now, I'm recording you on my phone right there. If NASA, not NASA, the Hey, the ones that keep them huge monster servers, they know about every phone call made, where you go, that phone, they know where you've been. I don't care if you shut your phone off, they still trace you. They can still watch you. Every time you go by a cell phone tower, they know where you've been. They know what stores you've been in. You use your phone in the store, they know where you've been. They know what you spend your money on. Now, when you see this digital dollar all over, there ain't going to be no more paper money. It's all going to be on your card or on your phone. Look at Wholesale Foods. Has gone where you just go in and I can't remember if you scan your phone over the thing. You don't even need to go to the cash register. You have sensors and cameras everywhere in the store, and through your phone and stuff, when you pick up an item, it identifies what you're picking up and you put in your cart. And when you walk out the door, your phone says, okay, I paid with this. Now, when it goes full time, they already start. Remember when they started to do about the $600 a year if you exchange money over the internet of $600 or more, you have to fill out a 1099 and all this and that. So they watch your bank. Now all these banks are going to just disappear because you won't need them anymore. Look at all the people that are going to go out of work. And these guys don't have control. They already have control over your 401ks. Trump was trying to protect us from that. And they had all years out there fooled that Trump was a racist and this and that and the other thing. But you don't realize he was one of them. Not like them, but he had to do business with all them people. Because in New York City where he lived, it was all Democratic run. It was all Democrats, and he knew how slippery and greasy they were, So, but now, all the people that, especially at Al Sharpton, there's a, oh my God, there's a loser for you. He was, I'm just going by memory. He was a drug dealer, a pimp in New York City, and he got hired by the CIA to help find out about rigging boxing matches, right? To control who was winning and where to put the money, blah 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 blah. He got popped. I think it was selling some cocaine at a major hotel, and he got popped. Well, then he became an informant for the FBI. He's been making money off that shit ever since. You damn poverty pimp, man, And just like he was all up in Trump's grill too, man. Hey, Trump, and Trump helped all them people out. Jesse Jackson with the Rainbow Coalition and all that. And then he turned to a Republican, went and voted as a Republican. They all turned on him. He was so, the Clinton side of his friend, they all chummed up to him because he was another billionaire, Get some of that campaign money, man, Yeah, got to kiss ass there. But now, he turned against us. He's gonna reveal everything. Everybody is talking about this indictment now. They're only indicting him to try to keep him out from running and campaigning for the presidency in 2024. We all know that. But it amazes me, man. The lying media, they just keep coming back. It's hitting all this stuff, Hey, oh, yeah, we just got to fill it, and we can just fill one more head full of bullshit, What's intriguing is the people that talk about equity and diversity and ending racism, they don't leave that party. They stuck in more to that because they know. And if they support that party, they're just as slimy and mischievous and devious as those that are in power abusing the American people. Well, I've studied this for 25 years, 26 years, And nobody wanted to believe me the things that I was telling them, I had a I had a couple websites. One was called Bubba's Corners, and I was starting to grow. I was getting, a bunch of followers there, and I didn't know about all this monetization and stuff. I basically did it to this, hey, my fellow Americans, you see this happening, I watched all the thing about the oil shortages and stuff, and oh man, And there's a guy that wrote a book. It was called In Search of the Black Gold. I listened to him talking on, it was some trucking channel on Coast to Coast or something like that. Everybody says, it's all conspiracies. But ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand, conspiracies, there are conspiracies. The world runs under conspiracies. Conspiracies are always played out by people that want to be in power. I mean, back in the day, it was called Genghis Khan, the Greeks where they were going to take over the Romans, everybody was trying to increase their kingdoms and take things over. That's the old days. Today it's all through political and financial, okay? And the only way you can defeat America is to beat her within, financially. And that's what they're doing right now, ladies. I mean, they're collapsing our economy on purpose. Because then they could, not just here in America, all around the world. They're trying to crash these banks all around the world because the people that are doing it are the rich elites. The ones that they say that they're really supposed to go after and get this 87,000 IRS workers to go out and get them for tax fraud. But these are the guys that buy and own these politicians that say that they're going to go after the rich. We've been flim-flam for many years, and and for you youngsters that don't know what that word means, look it up. Educate yourself, man, because the people that you are going to vote for are going to screw you. With that said, I'm going to have to trim this down because what am I sitting at here? I'm sitting at, oh, I lost track. Oh, well, just a couple more. Oh, what the heck's this? Oh, yeah, I made a comment on this one yesterday, just to name, man. All the missing kids in Maui. And the whole thing about that, ladies and gentlemen, they sent them kids home during a frickin' fire. Excuse me? And the parents were already at work. Wait a minute. It's like being on the ocean. Oh, hey, let's just start chucking you over, the boat's sinking, so let's just start throwing these children over here. Fucking sickening. Frickin' sickening. Oh man, I got a bunch of them here today. Same one. Here's some reply I got back from that one I made yesterday. From Summers 9911. Hey, thanks for the reply. Thank you. Prayers are greatly needed, but what's really needed are for people to unite, stand up, and deal with these traitors accordingly. And that's right. That's right. Look at these catastrophes that have been happening. These aren't. There you go, Bubba. You knew conspiracies, but there's so many pieces that are there that just don't make any sense, and they just don't happen by themselves. You know what I'm saying? What the hell did I do there? Anyways, on to the next one. U.S. students return, but are just part of. Oh boy. Oh yeah. There's all my WordPress stuff. Well, get back on that Maui thing and watch that guy. He was in control of the water. Oh, we have to use equity in this to use this water. He shut off the water when the firefighters needed it. They went up there and the hydrants were dry. Well, what kind of bullshit is that? Understand that Hawaii and all the water is artesian wells, very pristine, clean, crisp water. When me and my wife were there, I was just amazed. We were on Oahu too, and the water was fantastic, clean and crisp, and even swam in a pool. It was so revigorating. It was unbelievable. But as far as the fire hydrants and stuff nowadays, me just being a dumb truck driver, I would think, we got an ocean out there. Why don't we pull our emergency supply of water from the ocean? Huh. Oh, look at there, Tucson's flood. And it's interesting about all this climate change. They're trying to blame this fires in Maui on climate change. And I was watching a deal the other day. This scientist, they found aluminum ash in Canada in those forest fires. And for those that don't know, aluminum can be very explosive and start a very electrifying fire. Here we get back to another conspiracy that they've tried to say is not a conspiracy. Chemtrails. There's a difference between a black cat behind me. That's my daughter's cat. You goofy little booger. I was the years I drove over the road in the truck, I'd watch those jets flying over. And contrails are normal from a jet. You see the water vapor coming out of that that jet engine, which is burning diesel fuel, right? They call it rocket fuel, but it's basically pumped up diesel fuel. These are the water particles, which freeze. So at least that stream. But then eventually they dissipate. They break down. Chemtrails stay up there forever. And you'll see them slowly spread, right? I don't know how many days I would drive across the country, and I'd see them like in North Dakota, where I ran out of North Dakota. And they would be checkerboards. Everywhere you look, this way, that way, crossing each other. And I watched back in, I think it was 1998 or the early 2000s. And this was on several local news channels around the country now. You could find those videos. And I went back to look for them. They're gone. They've been scrubbed. But these local channels, like here in, let's say, Minnesota, News 11, okay? Blah, 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 blah. NBC, ABC, whatever. And they'd be talking about these chemtrails. And they found out that the government authorized the military to do it in the research of cancer. Wait a minute. Back up now. What has that got to do with the research of cancer? Is that put it up there and spread it over the lab rats so that we can see what happens? Or then they told us, it's to reflect the sunlight to decrease global warming. What goes up comes down. And it falls, it gets in our forests, in our lakes, in our drinking water. And what does aluminum do to your mind? You get really feeble, senile. There's so much happening, ladies and gentlemen. It's why you can't trust anything that comes out of Washington. You know, but the thing is now, people are waking up. The Bible tells us that there will be a great awakening. Many will awaken to Christ, and many will dig deeper into the world, where unfortunately they'll be lost forever. It's a sad thing too, because I don't know how to really explain it. I know everybody that I love is not going to make it, and that was hard for me. But it's the thing about free will, you know. You're given the ability to, you know, decide for yourself. Well, I was told, I've heard so many times in my life, the two major things you don't talk about is religion and politics, but they're the most important things you can talk about. And you must talk about. If you want to grow, even if you don't want to grow in wisdom of God, how about knowledge for yourself? But there's a difference between wisdom and knowledge. Knowledge, you can know a lot of things, but you don't have the ability to really to see what that knowledge really means and how it relates to people, your fellow brothers and sisters. You know, it's as the modern world takes over with technology, we communicate with each other on a one-to-one basis less and less and less. We are tribal people. We are beings that need friendship. We need to be with human contact with other human beings. You know, in slight conversations, you know. Friends back in my younger years would ask me, Bubba, why are you always talking to them old farts, man? You know, what the hell? They don't know shit. You know, they come from a different world. No, man, no. These people went through harder times than what we did. These people put it on the line for us to have better than what they had. We don't have that anymore. It's all me, grab me this, me that, you know. I believe this, you have to believe what I believe, you know. I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, but that doesn't mean I have the right to tell you to believe in. But I do have the right to say, hey, the Lord loves you. If you don't like it, well, then it's up to you to say, well, it ain't got nothing to do with me. You know? Yeah, there are Christians that try to shove it down the throat, you know. I tried to do that with my family in the beginning, you know. I was one of those Bible thumping the old guys, you know. So I read a scripture that said, be gentle with your children, do not be harsh to them, lest they turn bitter and walk away and then never come back. See, we have these built-in things that people don't even know they have. We live out a magnetic field, just like the earth and the sun and every other proton molecule, whatever you want to call it, break it down. Everything has a gravitational force, a magnetic force of energy. We have that. It comes from our heart, and it radiates out around us. People call it an aurora. My false teeth, and I can't pronounce some words right, so bear with me. Yeah, you can tease me, but they look better than I'm not into the, I got to look this way just to, make myself look better. Scare somebody, and then somebody will tease you. Oh, man, he's just a tooth. Well, look at Nancy Pelosi. She's always chomping her dentures around. I think it's kind of funny. I try not to do that. But, yeah, if you follow what I'm trying to say, we need human camaraderie, And there's less and less of it nowadays, And that's sad because that's where we lose our humanistic qualities. They don't grow because we don't allow it to grow in ourselves. People want to stay the same. And, when I went out to prove to myself that Jesus wasn't who he claimed he was and the Bible was fake, I found out I was wrong, There's many things in the Bible I do question. Don't get me wrong, The Lord did say, search me out and you'll find me. And it doesn't mean just find him, knowledge of him, but in his word and his laws and his mindset, and his power and his majesty, It was an amazing trip, but we tend to go and we go look for, we'll flock the books because we are a spirit, a spiritual being. We can be influenced by other powers, Every nationality, every tribal bit of people have a God that they identify that is the one that is the Father, and then there is the trickster, the devil. Every single faith in the world has that. Say, at one time, through my research through the years, I found stories by scientists where all the land masses were at once joined together. And I used to look at in school I used to look as a kid. I was very curious when I was a kid, I wasn't a very good student because my mind was always wandering, My mind was always looking out the window, looking at things, going, man, them trees look cool. Look at that sky. Look at that cloud, There was something in there I couldn't understand. But through my walk with Christ, I've been learning that that's how he spoke to me. He spoke to me through everything in the world. Not just the Bible, And I'm a lousy prayer warrior. When I pray, I don't know what to say because I'm so humbled by his love and his grace and his power, and his wisdom. It just like, I feel like a speck of dust, But he loved me enough that he's let me live as long as I'm alive, and I don't know why. Maybe this moment in time, if somebody out there that needed to hear something I had to say. Maybe you're going through things that I went through, which is, it would take me a lifetime to explain it, You can't ever sum your life up in just a few instances because there's things that come at you, there's things that attack you, and do you fight back? Do you seek to find out why that is? Why do I hear them voices, Why am I getting them thoughts? Where'd they come from, But getting back to that, finding them books, I found, and I started finding books that I never would have even went to look at, And these were from scientists because I thought to myself, hey, what they tell us, trust the science, right? So I go and this is by scientists, okay, it's going to prove that, it's my theory is right. Wrong. This scientist found God, he found Jesus Christ through his science. You know what I said? God says, search me out and you'll find me. You know, so I've had so many Christians tell me, Bob, man, you ought to get it all from the Bible. You got to get it all from the Bible. But then I watched some Christian pastors, you know, that they're interested in the same books that I've read, you know. And one good one that I liked was, oh God, what was his name now? See, there's where the amnesia takes over from all my head injuries and my heart medicine, you know. But Strobel was his last name. I can't remember his first name, but he used to be the science editor for the Chicago Tribune, right? Him and his wife were both college-educated people, and, you know, they didn't believe in superstition, you know. Well, one day his wife came home, and she found Christ. And he goes, sweetheart, what are you doing? We don't believe in that superstitious stuff. We're educated. She goes, go on and find out for yourself. So he did. He went out, as a news person does, right? Started this investigation. And he went to, you know, all these scientists, and he went to these priests and stuff. And next thing you know, this man became a Christian. And now he's a minister of his own church. The name of the book was called A Case for Christ. Very good read. Very good read. You know, then there was another man I followed. He had a book called A Church of Many Tribes. And, you know, I got him in my YouTube channel, but I got like over 1,000 subscriptions that I can't follow them all, but I put them in my subscriptions because occasionally they'll have something that comes up on my feed and I can catch them there. And then if they got something missing, I go back and look at some of their videos, you know. But this was a Native American man that he was a member of the American Indian movement, which my wife was actually, her uncle was one of the co-founders of the American Indian movement. His name was George Mitchell. And very smart man. I admired him a lot. And my wife ended up being elected to the council. She was called chairperson for AIM out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And she's brilliant. She's brilliant. She's taught me so much over the years, you know. I don't know how she's put up with me in my foolish Norwegian ways. You know, I got about that much Cree in me. My great-grandmother was full-blooded Cree from Canada. But, you know, when I was a young kid, I should say, and even in grade school, when we had to do library time, man, I always read up on Indian history and their lifestyles and stuff. I was so intrigued by it, man, you know, and I never could understand why until I found out that, you know, I did have a Native American blood in me, you know. And I've been around Native Americans and Hispanics most of my life. They were always my closer friends. I had more Native American and Hispanic friends than I did white friends. I was never really accepted in the white community too much because I was always the new kid. Was always the new kid at a school, you know. Every year I went to a different school. One year I went to 4 schools in 1 year. So you was always the new kid on the block. You're always being tested, you know. You're always getting beat up on, you know. But I got along good with my black friends and my Hispanic friends and my Native American friends, you know. And, yeah. But I found all them books that led me to Christ. And one day I just fell on my knees, man. After my brother died of diabetes, he looked like 150 years old when he died. And his fiance, Rocky, I loved that woman, man. She had this laughter that was so contagious. She'd walk into a room and she'd be laughing about something. Next thing you know, you're sitting there smiling and you're laughing and you go, well, What are y'all laughing about? I missed her, but her new boyfriend was jealous of my brother, and even after he died, he couldn't accept the fact that she still loved my brother Greg, and shot her in the face with a shotgun and shot himself. I just fell on my knees, man. And I said, Lord, 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 please, if you are real, I need you. I can't stand. I mean, I literally could not stand on my feet. I just fell to the ground in the back of my truck near the rest area in South Dakota. But I think I've made this video long enough. I hope you come back and visit now and then. This is Bubba 649 Story Channel. I get off the beaten path sometimes. I had a whole bunch of video clips I wanted to review and share with you. Now that I got my equipment back up and running, I get back in there. I got channels over at rumble.com, BitChute, gab.com. I got things over on YouTube. I got a channel over on YouTube. It's all on Bubba 649. Bubba was a name given to me by my buddy Dodge. His real name was Roger. I called him Dodge because he was a character, man. You guys would have really dug him, man. He was. And we trucked for 20 some years together, And I ran into him before I even became a Christian, We got along pretty good. He was a old rodeo biker, tramp, trucker, like myself. I never rodeoed, but I love my motorcycles and I love them big trucks, man. I've been off the road now for 3 years. And I miss it, but I do enjoy being home with my family. I asked the Lord to bring me home, find a way for me to come home. I had this thing, I started trucking when we lived up on the White Earth Indian Reservation in northern Minnesota. And there really wasn't much work there when we first got up there, and then the casino opened up, so I went to work at the casino for a while. I was a waiter in the restaurant, and I made some good money and tips. Sometimes I went home with 100, 150, sometimes $200 a night, And I'll tell you some stories about them. You keep coming back, you might be able to catch one. But I said, man, my family was fighting so much, my 3 daughters and my wife. They all have bipolar, And I thought all this stuff about bipolar was bullshit, So I never gave them the benefit of the doubt, I thought, well, they don't listen to me. Got to provide for the family somehow. So I went to a trucking school for 3 weeks. I already knew how to drive a truck, but I needed help because I had a DUI on my record, and I just got my driver's license back. And so I went over there and I got it, and they told me that they couldn't help me find a job because I had that DUI on my record, So I had to find my own job, and I did. And I ended up working for them cutthroat places, where they just abused you and used you, But I learned a lot on the road. Got me away from that. And I got into many things. I listened to talk channels, Christian talk channels, left talk channels, right talk channels, Then along comes the laptops, So I started researching on the road. And, after I finally found God, after I found myself and given my life to Christ, it opened up a whole buffet of ideals and things to look at, things started making sense to me. You know, because we as human beings, we are very impressionable, you know. It's easy to fool somebody. You know, back in my drug days, man, I was a pretty good con artist, man. I can con you out of just about anything, you know, so I can get my drugs, you know. Uh, yeah, I did some bad things back in the day, and I repented it, and I prayed for those that I sinned against that I never seen again. I prayed and I hoped that the Lord would find them and they would forgive me, you know. Because without, well, you know, when I first started getting clean, say, I got into Narcotics Anonymous, right? And I started learning about that 12-step program, you know. You got to find a higher power, right? Some outside of yourself that you could relate to, right? Well, eventually it turned out to be the Lord Jesus Christ. I mean, you could have a Buddha or, a wax candle or whatever, you know, as long as you were opening your mind, trying to unlock them chains of addiction, you know. I've been clean now for, God, 40 years, you know. And when I got my motorcycle accident, that last motorcycle accident, I was fighting it because I went off the road up there north of us here at 85 miles an hour, flying through the air face first into the swamp. I thought I was going to break my neck, you know. I broke 3 ribs on my right side and cracked 2 on the left. And they said I broke my nose, you know. But I don't think I did. But I got messed up pretty good in that accident. That was a tough recovery. I'm a heavy smoker. When I was trucking, I'd smoke 4 packs of cigarettes a day. You know, it's easy just to reach up and grab a cigarette, you know. Because when I was into my drug use, man, I was into that speed, you know. They called it crank back in the day, you know. I don't know what they call it today, man. You know, shit was made out of Drano and shit like that. And I was pumping that in my frickin' veins, you know. But, man, that rush of that shit, man, you were Superman, you know. And when I quit, man, I just started smoking, you know. And I got into that gambling. Anyways. There's so many things I want to talk about with y'all. You know, I started my first website out there, Bubba's Corners. And I was lining up blogs with, psychologists and therapists where this what really pushed me. Miles City, Montana, I pulled into the Old Flying J there just east of town before you got to the main off-ramp for the town there. There was no Flying J there. I mean, it's old, probably one of the oldest Flying J's in the country, right? Well, I pulled in, and back there was a Bison truck from Canada, and there was cop cars all around it and an ambulance, you know. What the hell is going on? I went in and, after paying for my fuel, well, to go in to pay for my fuel, I asked the gal behind the fuel desk, I said, well, what's going on out there? And she said, well, a trucker blew his brains out there with a rifle. I said, really? She said, yeah. And the phone rang, and she picked up the phone, and it was the guy's company. And they asked if he was there. Yeah, he shot himself in the head. Click. Wow. Oh. I looked, I said, how could you be so cold? Wow. And I understood, the frustrations of long-haul trucking, they're tremendous. not everybody can handle that. That's a whole lifestyle that you got to be built tough inside here and in here. If you're not going to last out there. I made it out there for 25 years. I loved it. Going over the mountain, coming down, through the down into the valleys and see them sparkling mountain streams with millions of diamonds sparkling off of the water, and you can see the rocks, man, just clean, pristine water. Clear blue skies, and then to know there's the times you go through there in the winter when you couldn't see nothing, and you're hoping there ain't a moose out on the road or a buffalo or, I still loved it. But it got so goofy there towards the end, we're letting all these illegals, and they were starting to take over the jobs there. Well, they can't. They got to have a driver's license. Oh, okay. Well, it wasn't just from south of the border. It was all these foreigners coming over from war-torn countries over in Europe and stuff, and they come over, and these guys got, the government bought them new trucks, man. Got them set up in business. The Bosnians, man, they pretty much took over the local trucking in Chicago, Screw the American citizens. So this is nothing new that's going on. They trade us off like, I don't even know how to say it, but, well, I got to end this, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to take me a long time to edit this clip, but I hope you hit the like, subscribe, and leave a comment down there. If you got something you want to hear about, if I know anything about it, we'll put up a show, maybe invite you on as a guest. That's what I really want to get to, where we can have a two-way conversation going on, just starting back up on YouTube again, so I got 4 subscribers. My grandson is 30 away. He used to need 1,000 subscribers to get monetized. Now it's down to 500. He's at 470. He's got a whole technique, I don't understand why he does it the way. I asked him about it, and I'm just curious because, kind of like one YouTuber to another, He's pretty smart young man. He's helped me with my computers with things that I just couldn't figure out, See, what I went down, I tried to update my DaVinci Resolve 18, right? I use that for editing my films and my clips and stuff, and it's got a steep learning curve, But I could do the basics, simple things in there a lot faster, and it never crashed like Clipchamp. I got the free version of Clipchamp from Windows, Microsoft. And it's okay for the average, edit a home video for, your kids or your relative or something. It's pretty good for that, And the Pro, I paid for the Pro for a while, but it wasn't much better. You still got to pay for all them things, but there's things in there I like to use, And there's another program I use called Clipchamp, or not Clipchamp, GIMP, where I can go in there and I could make my own icons and my own thumbnails for YouTube, and you can do it on Canvas too. These are just things, but here's a thing I like to point out to anybody that comes in, If you're curious about why so many of us do this, it's a thing about getting the word out about what's really happening in the world. Because in news media, I don't care if Fox News has joined the wackies on the left. They ain't no better no more. There's still a few people over there that I like to watch, But when I do watch them now, it's just to get information from one angle and see, you know, what they're reporting about it. Then I'll go to CNN and I'll look at their reporting on it. And in between, I end up finding these links in these independents on YouTube and Rumble.com, stuff that used to be in the news industry. Now they went out and branched out on their own. So legacy media, ladies and gentlemen, is dying. It is so undependable. You cannot trust it. You know, I used to be a big Sean Hannity fan, but I've learned a lot about the guy over the years, and you know, people change. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I've made this way longer than I wanted to, and I know most of you didn't get past. If you made it past 2 minutes, I appreciate it. Even if you come in, hit that like button. Help share it out so it gets out to more. Maybe you don't like hearing everything I had to say, but maybe I had one point that you thought was interesting. Pass it on to a friend. This is one American speaking to my other American brothers and sisters. Because we're all in this together. What happens to you happens to me. We're all tied together. Like the Native Americans said, we're all one people. We're all my relatives, right? Whether you know it or not, white people were related to the Native Americans. We're related to the black Americans. We're related, around the world. We're all tied together. It's those that are in power to divide us, to keep us separated, not in just countries, but in political parties and organizations. There's always going to be a division. There's always going to be somebody that wants to be in charge. So we have to learn to pick our leaders with the utmost care. And we have to do that with wisdom, not just about what they say on TV. When they're in front of the news, they're being moderated by a news agency that's trying to put their own agenda into their debate. They control what questions are going to be asked. Now, if we really were intelligent people, with all this technology out there they say is so great, why do we even have to give to campaigns that all these rich people that they say they're going to go after to make them pay their fair share, they donate millions of dollars to them? Now, why are they going to go after them when they donate millions of dollars? They're not. They're going to tell you they're going to do it. Then they're going to turn around and come back after you and me, the average American, the middle class. The middle class is shrinking. The middle class goes, it all crashes. And all them big shots up on top are going to find out they ain't shit. Because if we go down, they go down. We see their wokeness, we stop buying from them, they go broke. We have the power. We are the power, not them. Don't be fooled. Do not be fooled. But you can't get it if you don't speak up. And that's what we need to do. I got to say this one last thing, and I promise this is the end. I'm watching these young guys now, like this Lou Valentino, I think his name, Louis Valentino. He's on YouTube. Once I be able to put the links in, these guys are all, I'm going to show you all the links I follow, and then I can put a link where, I bring up a news thing and I show it. There'll be a link down there, so you can follow it to see where I got my information. I was taught that when I was in college, online college, that you had to highlight where you got your facts from, where you got your information from. You know, if you wrote a book, you know, you'd always have that mark there or that number, and you'd go back in the back and you'd see where he got his info, so you could fact check him. You could do your own fact checking. We don't need to, when you see the fact checker on the internet, it's been fact checked by the person that put that story up there in the first place. Now this has been proven, but yet we still believe it. You know. Now, anyways, I forgot what I was going to say. So let's just end it here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll remember it. I'll put it in another video. But God bless. I hope you have a good day. And I hope you keep coming back. And I hope you like this and share with your friends. We'll see what happens in this world here.